everyone.
Yes. Good morning. Shauna Marie, good morning. JN, good morning. We are live. Yeah. So, Shauna, thank you for being a top fan and letting us know that
Thank you, Shauna.
we are live now. So awesome. I think yeah. Speaking of things we need during the holidays and things we need, especially during this time, we're having a mental health episode. I think it's super important, especially like when you think of mental health and you just want to check in with your friends. How are you, Kayemee? How is Kayemee?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking, Roni. I mean, it's such a big question that I can just ramble on and on, right? But mental health wise, I'm thankful I'm crazy. I think everybody knows I'm crazy, but I try to keep it together by keeping myself busy, eating the right foods, doing a little bit of exercise when I can. And stretching is very important for me because I'm getting old and my bones and my joints are hurting. So stretching helps me a lot.
It's a mind and body thing, right? Like I feel it too, especially if you haven't, if for those of you who don't know, we are still in a stay-at-home kind of situation right now with the pandemic, and it is encouraged that you go outside and do all of that. But I mentioned it in a previous episode. For some reason, staying at home means I'm like more busy because everyone wants to talk and everyone wants to do meetings, and that just kind of involves sitting at your computer for a long time. I don't mind it, but it does feel on your body.
Yeah. And also, I mean, now that I think about it, we do sit a lot in our cars, like when we were not in a pandemic. So
yes.
That's why we feel more productive, because we're not on the roads driving stuck in traffic, and we're actually now finding and digging deep and finding new amazing stuff to keep busy on rather than just sitting in traffic, right?
That's so insightful, Kayemee. Yeah, we're like most of our like. There's a crazy statistic about like you spend X amount of your life commuting. So now that we are commuting out of the equation, we're just straight to work. Like my commute right now is about 20 seconds from my bedroom to my computer, and then you're just doing extra work. So, but that's really fantastic. I didn't even think about that, Kayemee. Thanks for putting that math together.
I thought about it just now.
Distinguished guests, I'd like to introduce you to the hosts of Rise and Shine. We have Rex Sampaga and Ed Malilin. Come on out, you guys.
Hey, rise and shine, everybody.
Rise and shine indeed.
Rise and shine. Hey, how's everyone doing today?
Oh, man.
Amazing. How are you doing, Rex?
Hey, it's in this crazy environment right now, you can only try to be very positive and try to keep upbeat with everything going on. But hey, doing fine. And we're very I'm grateful that we have another taping of Rise and Shine and everything. So, we're all good.
That's true. We're a few episodes deep now, so it's something to be thankful about every time we tape.
Oh, yeah, who would have? I mean, I was just kind of thinking back to like, who would have known that we would have like a morning program within FilAm Creative and everything. I wouldn't have predicted this, but I think our co-host, Mr. Ed Malilin, I think his video might have taken a quarantine himself. I don't know. Can you hear us, Ed? Or are you up on the International Space Station?
I can hear you good. Can you hear me?
Ooh, yes. Yeah, that was clear.
Yes.
Hearing you loud and clear.
Wow, it's a miracle.
Yes, like the Barry Manilow song. Yes, it's a miracle.
Barry Manilow's a good man. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan of Low, so don't get me started on that.
So Ed is practicing his stop motion filmmaking skills today.
Very avant-garde. I love the
directorial choice. It's very Renaissance. It's very Renaissance,
Jeremiah is going to make a lot of money off this episode.
Yeah.
I think Ed was in that space launch just a few days ago when they were launching up the spy satellites, and so I think he sneaked over to Cape Canaveral, and right now he should be in orbit right now, or he should be close to the International Space Station for all you know about.
He's watching all of us. He's watching all of us. Well,
yeah, he's orbiting literally around us right now.
Oh goodness. Well, you'll have a front row seat to all these shenanigans, Ed. So pop in when you can. Because a special treat for today, we're actually going to have our guests come out. And we're all going to stay on because mental health affects all of us. So
yes, for sure. Yeah, this is we're going to have more like a roundtable type of conversation this morning, and as you and Kayemee had bantered about beforehand. So all of us are gonna stay on with our esteemed guests, and I will introduce the guest right now. She is a licensed clinical psychologist who currently works as senior staff psychologist and liaison to the LGBT Resource Center over at UC Irvine and in its counseling center. And she also has a part-time private teletherapy practice. I guess with the pandemic, everybody's probably, everyone's doing their private practices remotely right now. But also our guest is former co-chair of the Asian American Psychological Association on Filipino Americans, which is actually a network of Filipino and Filipinas American mental health practitioners from all over the country. And I didn't even know about this, but our guest is also the current president of the UC Irvine Filipino American Alumni Chapter, and also helped co-found FONS, which is the National Historical Society for Orange County and the Inland Empire Chapter. And lastly, she's also done talks about mental health all around the community, especially with FONS, with the National Historical Society, with SIPA, Search and Involve Filipino Americans, and she's also talked to our youth within SIPASA, the Southern California Filipino American Student or Association. So it's basically all of the colleges here in Southern California, and also its sister NCPASA. So I want to bring her out right now. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Dr. Christine Catipon. Woo! Come on out, Christine.
Hi. Thank you for that enthusiastic intro, Rex.
Well, I just want to let people know that, I've known Christine for forever, and we've also had professional musical endeavors that she and I have taken part in.
I'm going to plug my musical desire.
yes.
Creative after all.
It is FilAm Creative, yes. And Kayemee and Roni, you got to hear her sing. I mean, she's a great jazz singer. Just letting you know. Just letting you know.
Career in singing, no.
Just letting you know. She's a jazz trio. Oh my gosh. Look, thank you, Christine. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Christine.
Sorry?
Maybe we should do a little impromptu right now.
Oh my goodness.
Sample.
lang.
Yeah, it's hard to lug in my piano, from
Make
to
it
the
work.
taping.
Make it
Yeah.
work.
Well,
drag it in there.
When I was getting my master's in spiritual psychology, my master's project was putting on a jazz concert, and Rex helped me produce that. So I did a bunch of standards and dedicated it to my dad. So it was really a great experience. And I haven't done that. When was that? That was like 6 years ago.
Wow, that was a while back in. We fundraised a lot of money,
we did.
for your father and everything, and just the turnout was just amazing. I don't want to say it, but I wanted you to say it. Yes,
a lot of people don't know that aspect about me, so it's funny that it's coming out now. Most people know me as a psychologist, but really, since I was 3 or 4, I wanted to be a singer, and so it was really nice to be able to have that little bit of a dream come true. 6 years ago. People are asking me when I'm going to have the next concert. I'm like, we'll see. Maybe I'll hit you up in 4 more years, and we'll do the 10th anniversary.
Rise and shine. Hey guys, it's Ed. Thanks for listening today. And did you guys know that Rise and Shine is part of the FilAm Creative umbrella, and that we're a registered nonprofit? And as a nonprofit organization, FilAm Creative depends on generous donations from fine folks like you to help us to continue to produce great programming like Rise and Shine. Please consider making a donation to help produce shows like Rise and Shine. Our Venmo is at FilAm Creative. That's at FilAm Creative. And if you don't do Venmo, but you still want to donate a few quid to us, then drop us an email at RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com. That's RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com, and we'll help you out. We at Rise and Shine appreciate your generosity. Every dollar helps.
Hi, this is Walter Boholst. I'm proud to be one of the co-founders of FilAm Creative and serve as a member of the board of directors. In case you didn't know about us, I'd like to share with you our mission statement. FilAm Creative Incorporated educates and advocates for the Filipino American entertainment community and all looking for a collaborative workspace in order to achieve greater representation and career advancement. Although we're based in Southern California, FilAm Creative's reach can be felt worldwide. If you're interested in joining us behind the scenes to produce or promote our many programs and initiatives, visit our website at filamcreative.org. That's filamcreative.org, and contact us to learn how you can join our cause. For students, we also have internships available for you to gain valuable experience. Visit us to learn more at filamcreative.org.
So I guess we could start it off with Christine, maybe you can just give your maybe general perspective on how you've been dealing with everything that's been going on this past year.
Well, thank you, because it's not often that people ask how therapists are doing. And the reality is, we need to take care of ourselves, like particularly more during this time, because I think the level of intensity and severity of concerns that people are coming in with, it's a lot to contain. And it's interesting because there's a parallel, because we are experiencing it too. We FilAm psychologists are experiencing the stress from the pandemic, from the anti-Asian sentiments. I have had colleagues who have been spit upon.
Wow.
They're doctors,
Wow.
and it's like, so a lot of this stuff affects us. And it's been interesting for me, because I'm like, how do I contain my own stuff, my things that might get triggered, because I am actually going through similar things that my clients are reporting. And but it has to be focused on the clients, so I practice what I preach. I have my own therapist that helps me get out what I need to get out so that I can be available for my clients. But what I'm seeing is a really huge uptick in therapy services, because people don't have the typical distractions that they normally do being holed up in the pandemic. So before, when you could just go to the movies or go, eat out or go see friends, we just don't have those luxuries anymore. And so people are forced inside and forced to go inside, go inward. And they're reflecting on a lot of the things in their lives that they can't distract from anymore. And so that's bringing up a lot of stuff. And so I'm glad that the stigma of mental health is now, I don't care about the stigma. I'm feeling terrible. I need to go get support. So I do think, that's a big part of it. There's also this piece about our population being significantly impacted, because most of us are frontline workers.
Yeah.
And by the way, any frontline workers out there, be aware that Starbucks is giving you free coffee this month, as much as you want. So I have not gotten my free coffee yet, but there's no limit. So take advantage of that if you like Starbucks. I personally like Phil's.
We have fans of Phil's here.
But I'll take a free coffee if I need it. Because they recognize, how much frontline workers are putting themselves out there. And that includes mental health workers, which, I feel like that was the first time I saw us being acknowledged in that way, because we are really holding all of everyone's concerns. And here's the thing about therapy. I think I heard you saying earlier, Ronnie, about like, let's talk to our families and everything. But one thing that I'm noticing is that people are stuck inside with their families, and that is what's causing them distress.
You know,
Not to say there's anything wrong with families, but we can all get a little stir crazy. And how do you talk to your family if your family is the reason you are in distress? And so what I like about therapy is we're confidential, so you don't have to worry about chismes with us. I love my license. I'm not trying to lose it. So we are not going to share any of your information with people. But I think why I'm so busy is because representation matters. A lot of the Filipino students at UC are seeking me out because like, ooh, there's one that I don't need to explain my worldview to, one that I don't have to say, hey, this is what my tita's saying to me about being fat over the holidays or whatever. I'm like, I get it, So I'm really proud to have been co-chair for the Division on Filipino Americans for the Asian American Psychological Association for the past 4 years.
Rise and shine. This is Kayemee. I hope you're enjoying the show. Did you know we have a mailing list? And did you know that you can contact us if you want to say hello to Ed, Rex, Ronnie, Veronica, or even me? Just send us an email at RiseAndShineFAC. That's one word spelled out, RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com. Join our mailing list so you can be the first to find out about the latest Rise and Shine news.
I think there's such a lack of research for Filipino American psychology. And so we're really trying to elevate and support our graduate students and early career psychologists in creating more research. A lot of it was kicked off by my colleagues, Dr. Kevin Nadal and Dr. E.J. David. But there's so much more that needs to be done. And I think in the creation of this division, which is now, I don't even know, like hundreds of members strong, like at least 400. So there's representation throughout the country, but people just don't know how to find us. So hopefully this will be the start of saying, hey, we do exist. We do have networks in which we like, hey, does anybody know a Filipino in Arkansas that can help this one person? It's like we network and we know where each other are.
So we currently exist.
Grammar.
I mean,
good with grammar, but sometimes the plurals and singulars.
It totally happens. I appreciate like as far as the therapy journey goes and like looking out for other, like being part of the Filipino community, right? Like we have very specific idiosyncrasies about our
values are so unique.
Yes, our values are so unique, and then looking after yourself, like mental health wise, it always reminds me, there's a great movie out there by our friends HP Mendoza and called Bitter Melon, and there was in the trailer Patrick Opino, who's a friend of FilAm Creative. He kind of stars in that movie, no spoilers. But in the trailer, one of the main characters talks to his mom, they're Filipino, and says something about like, I think I have depression or something. And then mom goes, depression, that's only for white people. And it's like, this is like a real thing that we've probably been told like in our lives. And especially being further marginalized as a Filipino in the creative field. I think I personally had that talk with my parents, and then that spirals a whole different thing. But now where Rex mentioned, we're all kind of having our own version of what's happening in our lives. I know that me personally, I have a day job. I have a job in production, but I also do freelance, and I've lost out on a lot of freelance opportunities during this year. So it's been just kind of like feeling out of touch and feeling out of the community and wondering, it's like, if I go on set sometime next year, am I going to remember how to like do the job? am I going to be like, what is this? And like, it's a camera, Ronnie. He's like, got it. What about this?
It's called a microphone.
It's a microphone. Oh, okay. Who is this person? The actors. Cool. I'll be over here. Yeah, and I know Rex and Kayemee, as a professional photographer, I know you've had some. There's been some stuff going on, like as far as like this year and where your mental health has been creatively.
Yeah, my mental health has. I've actually handpicked a lot of very, very few people who I knew that was going to keep me strong during this time. And that is my work and my little circle of friends and FilAm Creative. And when Christine mentioned that, you know, that we seek out like these groups of people, of Filipinos, I found FilAm Creative last year, and I've been in LA since 2001. So it was like something that I knew was missing, and I just didn't know where you guys were. And I finally found you.
Sorry, Kayemee, we're here though. We're here.
But like, it was like, where are all the Filipinos? Because for some reason, like I was photographing all these people in Hollywood, and I very rarely see them, you know. And it's just, I've seen every like race, like up to like somebody from Lithuania, or you know, but very rarely Filipinos. And now, you know, now we're here. So
We're everywhere, Kayemee. We're everywhere.
Yeah, you just gotta dig it out.
We're out there, right? We were all doing our separate individual gifts to the world, right? And now we're coming together and I really feel like that we're gonna create something really amazing and powerful for the coming years. So I'm very, very excited about that.
Hey, Rex here with Rise and Shine, and I want you to do something for me. Help support Rise and Shine by liking, subscribing, and following the show online. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, all under at RiseAndShineFAC. So follow the show on all social media platforms on all one word at RiseAndShineFAC. Thanks again for all the love and support, and tell all your friends about Rise and Shine.
And if we can start getting real a little bit, Christine, you mentioned that like a lot of people were seeking out mental health and talking to therapists during the pandemic. And yeah, I'm one of them. I signed up with an online therapist this year. I was telling the rest of the crew, it's like, she's very expensive. So gotta budget that wisely. But it's been a fantastic journey. It's actually funny because my therapist ended up being from my hometown of Vallejo, California.
Wow.
Shout out to the Bay. And yeah, when she told me, she's like, oh yeah, I'm from Vallejo. I'm like, no freaking way. So that's just one aspect of my personality, that my upbringing, that I didn't have to explain to her. Mm-hmm. She's not Filipino, but like it was really refreshing. And like what you said, like representation matters. Like I was like, wow, you're actually from Vallejo. Like you can understand like this part. So it was really interesting. And now I've become that person who quotes my therapist all the time. I'm like, well, my therapist said that I think, and one of the things, like, especially I'm quarantining with my partner right now, and we're both working from home. So we're spending a lot of time together. And, he has been really awesome, is like, oh, when it's time for me to like get on my video call with my therapist, like I gotta go into our 1-bedroom and like close the door. Like, so you kind of feel like you have the space. Like, even though I share everything with him, I still wanted to be like, this is my time with my therapist, and I want to like be totally real with her. And I also want to bring up another thing you mentioned, that when you see your clients, your patients over, is it patients or clients? I want to get that right.
It's interchangeable. I mean, we're doctors, so we should be calling them patients, but I personally think clients.
When you see your folks,
my peeps,
your peeps over the screen.
I say my students for the college ones.
I love it. I feel like I'm still a student, right? Like when you see them, you only get to see them from like here on up, and you don't know what's going on. It resonated with me so much when you said that, because I had like a hair clip in my hand. And by the end of my session, it was in pieces. This hair clip was metal. This hair clip was metal. I don't know. It was a very thin metal, but like it was in pieces after my session with her. And like, I was just like, I remember looking down and we were talking about the holidays. We were talking about how I personally wanted to keep my family safe and I don't want to go back up to the Bay for Christmas. And just pieces, shrapnel everywhere. But update on that, it was very nice. My dad, actually, we tried it on the phone. He wants me to stay put. My dad, my very Filipino dad, actually told me not to go anywhere this holiday. He said, I would really like to see you, but it's better if you just stay there. So don't come over here, okay? I'm like, okay, thanks. But
do that again. Do that impression again.
That was much better Filipino accent than my husband. And he's probably watching this, so he's going to give me great.
Oh no, my dad has a very specific Filipino accent, and the way he talks to me, it's like I always say like, oh, it's I always just feel like because I was the one out of his 4 kids who went into the creative field, so that was fun. Thanks for paying for that art school, Dad. Sorry you're in debt. No, he's not in debt. I am. But yeah, so we just like I love the idea of just knowing that like you get it, like just the connection that you feel with people who get you. And Kayemee, when you said surrounding yourself with people, your support system, like you just need the folks who get it.
Yeah. And it's great that you built that. It's like, if you build it, they will come type of thing. That's kind of how the division on Filipino Americans started. Because when I joined, I just wanted to meet one. I was like, ooh, I've heard of Kevin Nadal, so I'll join. And it grew and grew and grew because we were looking for that community, the community that gets it, what it feels like to be an outlier, because we're still very much underrepresented in the mental health community. Why? Because of the stigma that the mental health has. I mean, Filipinos are known for their smiling depression. And yet, we are the Asian group that has like one of the highest amounts of depression because we smile at everything and we make everything okay. And so when I'm talking to a client in therapy, I'm just like, you got to feel your feelings. You got to let your feelings tell you what's working and what's not. And so if you just keep squashing it down and just smiling like everything's okay, not only are you getting those psychosomatic symptoms of like, heart rate and high blood pressure and all these things because you're trying to squish down all these feelings, but you're also not being able to tune in to what your heart's really telling you. Like if you're stressed or anxious or whatever, and you're like, no, it's fine. It's not going anywhere. It's just being stored in your body.
Stored inside. Yeah.
So we need to feel our feelings because it is kind of just the indicator. It's not bad or wrong, but so many times our culture, our values say, suck it up. It's okay. Just get through it. And so it's a really fine balance of not wanting to minimize our Filipino values, but also wanting to recognize it's going to be different for each individual. Just kind of like religion, like some people are super, conservative, some people are liberal. The way that our parents interpret Filipino values, it's going to be very different for FilAms that were born and raised here and had to incorporate all of these American values into our reality, whereas our parents might not have had to. So really, when we're talking in therapy, it's about what is your specific experience of understanding and what are your feelings telling you, and giving permission to yourself to not make it bad. It's like, this is natural. This is telling me something's not working. And as a therapist, I'm just like, okay, so let's identify what's not working based on your feelings, and let's see if we can do something about it. Because you're right, it's not enough. I think, Kayemee, you were mentioning earlier, we want to think about what to change, but it's more than that. We have to actually take action. It's like people who read self-help books, but they don't do the work. It's like, I know what's going on, but they don't do anything to fix it, So therapy makes you accountable. Like, did you do it?
Yeah. That accountability, it's real. I got a tip from my friend, one of my best friends, who is a frontline worker. She's a nurse, and she told me, like, the thing with therapy is that there is homework sometimes. You should it's someone likened it to like a personal trainer. It's like my personal trainer can tell me half a cup of rice is all you need. But myself is like, no, that doesn't look like enough. But if I don't listen to them, then it's like, then I'm just gonna be like, oh, I gained weight actually with you. But same thing with your therapist. It's like, I'm still sad. It's like, well, did you do the things? Like, did you
Yeah,
do
so
it?
it sounds like Christine, there's always, it's a one-on-one session. So it's kind of like, in some way, it is that accountability to yourself, because you're only verbalizing your feelings, because especially now we've been listening to ourselves. But then, when you let it out, when you actually, I think for me personally, whenever you even try to verbalize your feelings, it becomes a different experience altogether.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can like ignore it all you want in your head, but I think journaling and therapy, once it's out of you and you see it or you hear yourself say it, it makes it real. And that's part of the healing process. Okay, now I'm acknowledging that this thing exists and I'm going to do something about it. However, I do emphasize that I'm not the expert on my clients. They are the expert on themselves. I'm just giving them different options to consider, because so many times we have this very like blinder type of mentality where this is all we can see. I'm like, oh, have you considered this? Or could this be a possibility? I'm like, oh, I never thought of it that way. So it's more about broadening the perspective, but yet the client is still the one who's choosing, what's going to be best for them by trying it out. If they try something I suggest and they're like, that didn't work. Okay, I got something else up my sleeve. Let's keep working to find out your unique tool belt of tools that works for you, because it's going to be unique for you. I did see that Jeremiah had a question.
Yes, I was going to bring that up. Yeah, we had a question in our Facebook.
Go ahead.
He said, actually, he says, Dr. Christine, you have your own talk show. You should actually have your own talk show.
I love how Jeremiah's been calling me Christine this whole time, but then in the chat, it's like, Christine.
Dr. Christine. He basically is, this is going to be a continuation. He's like, do you have any thoughts on online services like BetterHelp? I believe, which is an app-based service for finding learning counselors such as yourself.
I was using Talkspace.
Talkspace is the other one. Yeah.
Because they're covered by my insurance, kind of.
Yeah, and then the other part of the question is, are there any other ways for people to find a therapist when they need it?
Yes. So Talkspace and BetterHelp are online things. And I actually almost started working for Talkspace on the side, but I think for me having a full-time job, it was just too hard to be able to manage like the asynchronous messaging. So I didn't do it. I say whatever works for you, do it. I'm not like a snob when it comes to therapy. I'm like, whatever is most accessible to people, whatever is most affordable for people. I know a lot of Filipinos, for them, the cost is,
a factor.
Like, why would I spend money on this? But if you liken it to physical health, you have symptoms, you go to the doctor. Mental health, if you have symptoms of anxiety and all of these things, you go to a doctor or a therapist to help you address the symptoms. So it's not unlike physical health. It's just that it doesn't show up on labs, but you still have symptoms, so it still exists. So please do something about it.
Very real.
I would say what I often do for people who do have insurance, because I recognize that, it's hard to access services. If you have insurance, I recommend writing down all of the therapists that are in your area and then Googling them, because most private practitioners will have a personal website or an entry in Psychology Today. And then you can look up their bio and see what their interests are. Sometimes you can get a sense if they are open to cultural, multicultural perspectives, things like that. Let's see. But today is actually a good one to go to, because most private practitioners have that. And then you can like search for Asian or Christian or certain
types of groups or certain types of certain types of
certain types of things, to if you want to work on anxiety management or mood disorders or abusive, so they will list their specialties in that as well. So I recommend that. And we do have a lot of resources in Los Angeles, like, oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember. I just did a PSA for I'm like literally forgetting all the things that I'm like promoting. But there is an Asian Pacific counseling services center in Los Angeles County. So there's a lot of things if you just search them out.
Let's see. We got another question from Kirby, and Kirby is another officer within our executive board. Thank you, Kirby. Her question is, do you have any advice or commentary on balancing that idea of being okay with doing anything and everything, and the other idea of just trying to stay productive during this pandemic?
Yes. So rest is productive.
Woo! I'm gonna go take a nap.
Rest is productive because I think we're trying so hard to be productive at the same level that we were before the pandemic without recognizing the world is not the way it is anymore. We're holding ourselves to different standards. And so, of course, you could be more productive if you had your team, if you had your colleagues, if you had all of these things. But trying to keep focusing on expectations of yourself pre-pandemic is not helpful post-pandemic or during pandemic. I can't wait till we're post-pandemic. So this idea of maybe rest needs to be part of that importance of, I have to do this in order to be productive. I need to rest in order to have the energy that I need. So I think a reframe of what productivity means. Now that's hard because again, Filipino values of,
You're not
always
working
working hard, and I have no problem taking a nap in the middle of the day.
What was it called, Kayemee? You said
Tulog ng tulog.
Oh, what does that mean? I know sleep and sleep.
Sleep ng sleep.
Yeah, do it. It works.
Okay, we have a question from we have a lot of awesome people in the chat right now on Facebook. Another person is I'm pretty biased because it's Raquel from the Ep4 team as well. Shout out to Raquel.
Okay.
I love you guys. What do you think is the best way to start mental health talks with your family, especially the elders who are old school minded? So if I
the look on my face is like, I know.
Right. If I tell my judgmental auntie, like, oh yeah, like I'm talking to a therapist now, I do this, and then if she gives me that look, like where do we go from there? Especially the old school mentality.
Right. Because it's hard because you're trying to balance this whole thing of respect your elders, which also doesn't translate very well because it's only one direction. So call me westernized. Call me westernized. So I pick and choose my battles, honestly, because I, again, am not the expert on them, and what works for them may not work for me. So who am I to project my values onto them? All I can share is this is what's beneficial about it. This is, I heard from this, great person, and they have been focused on this and they're working on this, and I think it could be really helpful. I've recommended therapy multiple times to elders in my family, and that's not going to work. So I'm like, okay, I pick and choose where to put my energy. And what usually works for my clients that I see, they're like, oh, my family is noticing that I'm not as depressed anymore. And so I'm like, that's when you plug it. That's when you say, like, what are you doing now? He's like, oh, you're so much happier. And I went to therapy, Mom.
It's only when they notice the delta. It's only when they notice the delta at that point,
Yeah. So all I can say is, do it for yourself. And if people recognize it, great. If not, you weren't doing it for them anyway.
If you can only hear the elders, it's like taking that line, but I'm taking it in a very wrong context. But if you can only take the line from When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having, that kind of thing,
Right. I mean, I will say I am probably considered a black sheep in my family because I just
Black sheeps unite.
The old school ways don't apply to me, and I know of the damage that it can inflict if I'm trying to live an inauthentic way. So I'm like, or it could be my age. I'm at the I don't give an F 40s as evidenced by my lovely gray streak. And so I'm just like, I don't care.
I don't see gray.
I don't care what
I'm colorblind.
My rogue streak.
Your rogue streak.
Rogue.
I love it. I want to personally say, I also think it's super cool to have a woman of color who has like the doctorate title, because I don't know if you notice, I keep wanting to call you Dr. Christine because this is just so dope. Another question, Dr. Catipon, and to piggyback off of Shauna's original question, does it matter what gender or nationality your therapist is when choosing the right one? And what are some online resource links for people who want to find a woman therapist, Filipino therapist, etc.? This is from our good friend, Charles Gray. Hey, Charles.
So I did see Shanna's original question was what's an important consideration in choosing the right therapist. It's so unique, you know. I mean, I don't resonate with everyone, but I resonate with most who, you know, I have shared identities with, again, because representation and not really having to explain much of the worldview. Although I do have to pause people. I'm like, no, I don't know what your tita is like. Tell me. Because even though I know what having a tita is like, like Tita Che, you know, I don't know what your experience of it is. So I have to be really clear about that. But I don't think it, I do think there are preferences. And for some clients, it might be helpful to have somebody who definitely understands a particular worldview, like if they share, you know, sexual orientation or religion, and if that's really important to the client. So again, the client being the expert on them, they would know what would feel most comfortable. You know, for example, if they have a history of abuse by a male, they probably may or may not want to work with a male to work through those issues. So it's kind of about doing an inward dive and like, you know, is there a preference that I might have that could be really helpful in my healing? If not, I think there's a lot of people who would be helpful. I've had Filipino therapists, and I've had Caucasian therapists, and I've had Japanese therapists, and you know, each one of them brought a unique perspective. And currently my therapist is a Caucasian female who's older than me. For me, I need someone older than me because I don't need somebody younger than me telling me about stuff. You know, that's just my preference.
That's your uniqueness.
Listen,
the elder Filipino thing.
Yeah, that's your uniqueness. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, 87-year-old Japanese therapist, I will go to you.
Love it.
You have wisdom. But you know, so I think it depends on you, what you feel would be most helpful, what would help you feel most comfortable. In terms of the online resource links, I would highly recommend psychologytoday.com and find a therapist. And then we don't have Filipino as an option, but we do have Asian. So there are filters that you can choose your insurance, nationality, gender, and what insurance they take and what specialties they offer. And they have their picture, so you can try to guess. They look Filipino. Their last name looks Filipino. Maybe they are. Many times, you know, if you have people that you are, like, for example, all of you could reach out to FilAm Creative, and they could reach out to me and say, hey, somebody wants a Filipino therapist in the South Bay area. Do you know of any? And then I can put it out to my networks with DOFA and with our Filipino American mental health directory, and put the, you know, and give you a couple of names. I've done that with a couple of my friends as well. So we're out there, but I don't know that Filipino is always the best thing. You know, I always have to check in with my clients. Are you sure I'm not going to remind you of your ate or your nanay? Because I'm old enough to be their parents now. I'm like, and
the thing is, you don't want to accidentally trigger off something that they didn't want to trigger. Are you sure I'm
not too much like your, you know? They're like, no, you're nothing like that. Okay. That's
so it's not, I mean, it sounds like, you know, from your explanation and everything. So, you know, people who are seeking out this kind of help, I mean, I guess, you know, do your due diligence, do your research. And again, you're totally right, Christine. I mean, you only know what you need for, you know, for your mental health and for your wellness. And so, yes, for everyone who's watching, you know, who's thinking about seeking help, only you know, and, you know, go do your due diligence and everything. And, you know, bringing Christine on can only be a resource. And us as FilAm Creative will be another resource as well, so that we can connect everyone and everything.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, for that, offering that help.
Sure.
Dr. Christine.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one thing that all of us FilAm psychologists have is a desire to give back to our community, because there's this idea of the wounded healer. And I would say that a lot of us therapists just know what it's like to be hurt. And so therefore we can really empathize with some of the things that our clients share. I know I can speak to that for myself. So yeah, being able to give back is like a big part of this. And it's why I've been involved in leadership and speaking, just because it was stuff that I wish I had when I was younger. And now that I have the opportunity, you know, it's not utang ng loob per se. It's just like, I want to give this back. It's not because I'm indebted to it. It's because I'm grateful and I want to be able to share that.
Let's see. We've got one last question from Jerome. Thank you, Jerome. He says, do you find it important to change therapists every few years?
It depends if you have not gotten, if you feel like you've only gone as far as you can go with a certain therapist. I mean, I do have some clients in my private practice that I've seen for like 5-6 years, and we just keep going deeper because we already have that rapport, that familiarity. I can say, you know what I'm going to say, right? And they're like, yes. So we have that kind of rapport already, and it's more about accountability and support and trust. But, you know, for some clients, they're like, you know, I feel like I've gone as far as I can with this therapist. It seems like we're just talking about the same stuff, or there's some, then it's perfectly fine to go ahead and explore. I think of it as, you know, therapies like different legs of a journey. And so perhaps for the short-term therapy that we provide at UC Irvine, you know, we might be able to be that first leg of the journey, like making therapy okay, making it feel safe, understanding what it's about. And then that, you know, brings them to their next leg of the journey for open-ended therapy and being able to explore things in more depth. Because most college campuses offer short-term because there's like 37,000 of them and only like 30 of us. So we have to be able to see as many people as possible. But my private practice, I've seen people for 3, 4, 6 years now, and we still keep going deep. So it depends if you are not getting what you need, or if you don't feel like you're growing.
It sounds like, so it sounds like with your private practice, you have more of that established relationship.
Yeah, which is why I like the combination. Yeah,
and with the students, you know, they're coming and going. They, you know, it's like you might not have that established relationship as they're just trying to get through school and trying to get through their academics and stuff.
You'd be surprised. A lot of connection and rapport can happen in a few sessions. You know, it can be anywhere from, you know, depending on the school, it can be anywhere from 1 to 12. I've had people like, wow, I feel great after one session. And then people, you know, might come in for 8 to 10 sessions and they're like, wow, that was life-changing. Because, you know, compared to nothing where they started out with, no, it's very possible to have those deep connections when you are like in it and you're motivated and you know you have a limited time to work with somebody. You know, it's very rewarding to see how people can heal when, you know, they're in that place to do the work.
Dr. Christine, I just want to say thank you so much. So speaking of things to make us happy in our support system, I am actually going to leave you with the rest of this crew while I duck out because I'm going to a Zoom wedding.
Okay.
So one really awesome thing that happened this year, and I want to be part of that support system. So thank you. Hang out with these guys. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
Okay. Thanks, Roni.
Yeah. So as we're about to wrap up here, I mean, again, I want to thank you, Christine, for coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom with our audience, with our community. Thank you again for giving back, you know, your time, talent, and treasure to our community and stuff. And so, I guess one last question: where can people find you on your social media platforms if you have them?
I know. See, you're referring to my last name because
I know
my college students to find me, so I use my married name on.
Use your married name.
I'm not trying to put that out there right now, but if you're a UCI FilAm alumni, I'm the president there, and so we have a page there. Yeah, you know, I really should probably do a little bit more professional stuff, which I might do if I end up being elected as VP. But right now, everything I have is personal, personal pages. So.
That's okay. I mean, I get it.
LinkedIn, how's that?
LinkedIn is always.
You can reach me there, Dr. Christine Catipon.
Oh my gosh, thank you. So can you remind our community where people, if they like what they see here in Rise and Shine, can you just remind our audience where people can, probably send in their donations to FilAm Creative?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a Venmo account. It's at FilAm Creative. And you can always also reach us in all our social medias on Instagram and Facebook. And we all each have our own Facebook account. But you have to be friends with us. So add us and follow us. And I just want to say, Dr. Christine, what an amazing talk show with you today. You definitely hit all the points that I look for in like growth and like digging deeper and surrounding yourselves with the great support system is like one of my greatest things. And that's how I've been able to cope with a lot of things in my own life. So thank you. And yeah. What about you, Rex?
Oh, hey, again, just want to say quick thank you out to you, Kayemee, and Roni, and Ed. I know Ed's up there in the International Space Station right now. I hope he was able to.
I am out here. Yes, I am. And I also want to thank Christine for coming out today. Christine, I'm so sorry that my Wi-Fi has been total trash today. I'd like to thank Spectrum for being garbage today. And I'll be calling you soon to set up my first appointment. You've got a client for life, thanks to Spectrum. And I can't wait to talk to you.
So that was recorded in the future.
Yes, this was recorded in the future. Yeah,
right. We'll already have had like 10 sessions by this time.
Exactly.
Christine, thank you so much for coming on. If you could stay on a brief moment right after the show, just for a brief moment afterwards and stuff. But hey, thank you again for coming on to Rise and Shine. I think we're going to probably have you on again for a future season of Rise and Shine.
When I sing?
Yeah, so we're gonna have
maybe. I have to put a trio together now.
I was going to give a sample, but I was like, oh, wait, we're not allowed to say certain things or words or phrases right now, so I can't. Sorry.
Well, maybe when we get on to season 2 of Rise and Shine, we'll definitely have you back on as a guest and maybe as a performer. We'll see what happens. Thank you again for coming on, Christine.
Thanks so much for having
we really appreciate you coming on today.
Sure.
Okay, so Ed, if you could still hear me from the space station, I guess we're going to have our usual end of show credits to be read by our.
Oh God, is she coming back? I thought she was gone.
I thought she was gone too. But
no, I think she's gone, Rex.
Today, huh?
I hope she is. Oh no.
Did I miss her? I heard there was a therapist on the show today, so I woke up. Okay, doctor, if you can hear me, I'd like to start with the beginning. When I was a girl, it was mostly self-loathing.
No.
And it was mostly darkness.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
And I never understood why. There's 7 pages of this, guys. So get comfortable.
We don't have time for your monologue, Veronica.
Usually I don't find sunshine when there is sunshine, but in the darkness is where I find the most light.
Veronica, go away, please.
Veronica,
okay. Should I just read the credits?
Do your job.
She'll call me after, right? She'll call me after.
Yeah, we won't call you. You won't call us.
So Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative was...
Veronica, you're like Spectrum today.
Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative was created, casted, hosted, produced, written, directed by Edward J. Molina and Alexei Samada. They're so humble. Rise and Shine with FilAm Creative also stars Kayemee, my sister Roni, and me. And if you're interested in my autobiography, I have it handwritten in this journal right here.
No, don't get started.
Drop me a line in the comments.
No, don't start.
Stop the pain.
Let's see.
Stop the pain.
It also stars our control freaks, Edward J. Molina and Alexei Samada. Those guys. FilAm Creative's Rise and Shine's technical director is Jeremiah. Our stage director is my sister Roni. There's a whole chapter about Roni in here.
Oh,
Can we
no.
get Christine back on
I
and
could- I mean, I
maybe
could
she
do a
can
better
talk to
job.
Veronica?
No.
I'll
Like,
transcribe.
good
I'll
grief.
transcribe it and I'll send it to
No.
let's see. And I guess finally, I'd like to thank today's guest, Dr. Christine Catipon. Christine, I'll send you. I'll just photocopy the pages, and then you can
No,
send
don't
me
do
back
that.
a
You can
report.
burn
No,
them.
no,
you
don't
can
do
burn
that.
them.
Don't do that.
Dr. Christine is a friend of Edward J. Malilan and raised next Sampaga. Okay, I got a lot to do, guys. So let me just get started here. All right, March 7th, 2001. Juicy Couture was all the rage, yet my heart did not feel juicy or couture.
Hey everyone, Rex here with Rise and Shine. Did you know that you have not one, not two, but 3 different ways you could check out the show every week? New episodes drop every Tuesday on our YouTube channel at RiseAndShineFAC. And you can listen to this podcast dropping every Wednesday by downloading Rise and Shine wherever you find your favorite podcasts. And if you want to watch us produce the show live, don't forget that we tape on Saturday mornings on Facebook Live, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's 3 ways you can improve your Rise and Shine diet every week: YouTube Tuesdays, Podcast Wednesdays, and live every Saturday on Facebook. Thanks again for watching and listening to Rise and Shine.
Rise and shine. Hey guys, it's Ed. Thanks for listening today. And did you guys know that Rise and Shine is part of the FilAm Creative umbrella and that we're a registered nonprofit? And as a nonprofit organization, FilAm Creative depends on generous donations from fine folks like you to help us to continue to produce great programming like Rise and Shine. Please consider making a donation to help produce shows like Rise and Shine. Our Venmo is at FilAm Creative. That's at FilAm Creative. And if you don't do Venmo, but you still want to donate a few quid to us, then drop us an email at RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com. That's RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com, and we'll help you out. We at Rise and Shine appreciate your generosity. Every dollar helps.
Hey, Rex here with Rise and Shine, and I want you to do something for me. Help support Rise and Shine by liking, subscribing, and following the show online. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, all under at RiseAndShineFAC. So follow the show on all social media platforms on all one word at RiseAndShineFAC. Thanks again for all the love and support, and tell all your friends about Rise and Shine.
Rise and shine. This is Kayemee. I hope you're enjoying the show. Did you know we have a mailing list? And did you know that you can contact us if you want to say hello to Ed, Rex, Roni, Veronica, or even me? Just send us an email at RiseAndShineFAC. That's one word spelled out, RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com. Again, that's RiseAndShineFAC, all spelled out, @gmail.com. Join our mailing list so you can be the first to find out about the latest Rise and Shine news.
Rise and shine. Hey everyone, this is Ed, and I got a question for you. Did you know that Rise and Shine is only one of the many things produced by FilAm Creative? That's right, FilAm Creative has been producing great stuff, like Rise and Shine, for over 10 years. If you want to learn more about the premier Filipino American organization that has been the #1 advocate for the Asian American entertainment community for over a decade, then visit our website at filamcreative.org. That's filamcreative.org. Learn more about the organization that produces your favorite show, Rise and Shine.
Hi, this is Walter Boholst. I'm proud to be one of the co-founders of FilAm Creative and serve as a member of the board of directors. In case you didn't know about us, I'd like to share with you our mission statement. FilAm Creative Incorporated educates and advocates for the Filipino American entertainment community and all looking for a collaborative workspace in order to achieve greater representation and career advancement. Although we're based in Southern California, FilAm Creative's reach can be felt worldwide. If you're interested in joining us behind the scenes to produce or promote our many programs and initiatives, visit our website at filamcreative.org. That's filamcreative.org. And contact us to learn how you can join our cause. For students, we also have internships available for you to gain valuable experience. Visit us to learn more at filamcreative.org.
Rise and shine. Hey guys, it's Ed. Thanks for listening today. And did you guys know that Rise and Shine is part of the FilAm Creative umbrella and that we're a registered nonprofit? And as a nonprofit organization, FilAm Creative depends on generous donations from fine folks like you to help us to continue to produce great programming like Rise and Shine. Please consider making a donation to help produce shows like Rise and Shine. Our Venmo is at FilAm Creative. That's at FilAm Creative. And if you don't do Venmo, but you still want to donate a few quid to us, then drop us an email at RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com. That's RiseAndShineFAC@gmail.com, and we'll help you out. We at Rise and Shine appreciate your generosity. Every dollar helps.
Rise and shine. Hey guys, Roni here. I know my sister Veronica likes to mess with the crew, but we all really work hard to produce a quality program for you. Rise and Shine is produced by FilAm Creative in association with RAS Music Group and Millennius LLC. Rise and Shine is written, created, produced, and hosted by Ed Malillan and Rex Sampaga. It also features Veronica Cunyaso, Kayemee, and me, Roni Cunyaso. I'm also our show's stage director, which isn't easy when you gotta keep Ed and Rex in check. And finally, our amazing technical director is Jeremiah Castro. Thanks for tuning in every week to FilAm Creative's #1 show, Rise and Shine.